Hey guys, in this video I'll be comparing Samson Dauda and Nick Walker's most recent versions in a sort of preview of the Mr. Olympia. In my opinion, neither of these versions are their peak physiques, and I have a solid feeling that they are going to be better at the Olympia. Both do look good though, and it should make for a very competitive comparison. Who do you think is going to come out on top between these two? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's get into this video. The front double is a solid pose to start off with for both guys, and something that I'm sure all of you have noticed is the gyno on Samson. While it is not super noticeable, I still think there's a possibility that it gets worse, and I think he should address it and fix it. Apart from that, I do prefer Samson's flow and shape much more than Nick's blocky build and pretty undersized quads. However, there is no denying that Nick has the superior arms and thinner skin condition. Nick's conditioning edge is significant enough to where it makes Samson appear a bit washed out. However, the proportions do throw things a bit off for Nick. Funnily enough, Samson looks uncharacteristically small in the lats and arms, maybe due to the camera angle or things like that. However, his waist is so small and his X-frame is on point. As a fan, I prefer Samson's physique and the aesthetics that he carries. However, I think Nick would win this pose due to his superior upper body thickness, better condition, and sheer mass, ticking off all the objective bodybuilding criteria. The front lat spread is an easy win for Samson right off the bat. Even with an unfavorable camera angle, almost anyone can look good against a Nick in this pose. I will give Nick some credit though, he's really brought up this pose from a terrible one to a passable, pretty decent shot. However, Samson is probably one of the most dense aesthetic guys in this pose. Samson's only real flaw are his highly inserted lats, I would say. However, that's nothing compared to Nick's unideal structure, wide waist, and underswept quads. I will say that Samson's abs do appear to be separating more than ever in the middle, and his conditioning could be better. However, everything else is spot on, and he would easily take this pose. The side chest is the first pretty close pose between these two, with both having great arms, side legs, and general presentations. What sets them apart is the conditioning versus fullness between them, with Samson having a far fuller, more developed chest and a rounder outer quad, whereas Nick has a hard, granite-like quality to his condition, with great details but a less dense chest and a flatter-looking outer quad. I really think that Samson has come a long way in this pose, bringing a better chest, side leg, and a chiseled waistline. However, Nick's presentation appeals more to me. I don't know, let me know down below who you prefer. I think that Samson might take this one due to the size and stature difference. However, Nick brings quality mass, and this looks great as well. The back poses, especially the rear double, is where I feel Nick will pull ahead and distance himself from a guy like Samson at the Olympia. His back, while not any thicker than Samson's, is wider in the lats on a smaller frame, and he does have better traps as well. Samson actually looks more impressive in the lower back thickness and separation. However, he does fall short in the lower body detail and in the arm detail and overall wow factor. Nick's great bicep peaks and hard condition, coupled with his arguably, one of the best lower bodies from behind, I would say, easily overpowers Samson's watery, kind of soft look. Mark my words, Samson with 10 to 15% more condition easily wins against really anyone. However, I feel as though this won't happen, and what will happen is that we're going to see Nick come in pretty improved from what we see on screen, and Samson might come in 2 to 3 to maybe 5 at max percent better. The rear lat spread is a bit closer than the last pose, however, really analyzing the shot shows you that Nick is the clear winner once again. At first glance, Samson's pronounced traps really jump off at you, and his lats look extremely wide, especially on that frame. His hamstrings and quads do look massive as well, and his silhouette is great. That said, when looking closer, Nick's lower body details just demolish Samson's, and Nick, while not as dense in the back here, looks dry and very detailed. The width of the two are similar enough to where, Nick isn't getting outsized. If anything, he may even be wider in the upper lats. With that all said, I think it's pretty clear that Nick has the quality separation and mass that allows him to win this shot. The side tricep is very, very close between these two, much like the side chest. Samson's fixed his posing in this pose, and he looks near perfect, especially in the side leg, arm, and the torso display. Nick doesn't lock his tricep out in this version, which does hurt him a little bit, especially when he's up against a near perfect Samson. Nick does have deeper cuts in the midsection, side leg, and arm, or rather should I say finer cuts, because Samson does look pretty good, and has that fullness and the bubbliness in his physique, which is really just as imposing. Personally, when the two are so objectively close, I would lean towards the more aesthetically pleasing display, which would of course be Samson. I prefer his rounder fullness along with his more aesthetic proportions. Like the side chest though, Nick could win this one just as easily, so let me know in the comments who you prefer in this pose. The ab and thigh is just a really upsetting pose for Nick since I remember how good he once was. Now Samson, when in a crunched version, isn't really much better in the abs in my opinion. However, the vacuum really hides his ever-growing ab split and accentuates his V-taper. Nick's abs and waist are so unsettling and his undersized quads aren't up to the task to, compensate for the mediocre upper half. Samson not only looks better in the midsection and the upper body as a whole, but clearly smokes Nick in the quads and silhouette. I don't think any further explanation is needed with Samson being the epitome of aesthetics in this pose, and Nick being a blocky fridge. Thankfully, the last pose, the most muscular, rewards that freaky, blocky look of Nick. Look at the shoulders, the details, and the arms on Nick, even his legs look pretty good with all the cuts and freaky vascularity. Now, Samson looks good as well, having a comparable size in the arms and delts, and even a thicker chest. However, the smaller frame of Nick with the large arms and delts really draws my eye. I think he perfectly encapsulates the freak factor and that mutant look of the most muscular, so I would go with him. However, Samson's cleaner look is rather underrated and could have an argument made for the win. Anyways, that's it for this comparison. I think that Samson and Nick will be very close at the Olympia. However, I feel like Nick will really nail it and bring something markedly improved compared to the New York Pro, while Samson might not be ultra conditioned. Let me know in the comments what you think of this comparison, and if you enjoyed, a like and sub would be awesome. With that said, I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.